welcome back to my channel, Finding Balance. My name is Jonna, and today we're going to make pickles. And we're going to make pickles because naturally fermented foods are an excellent source of probiotics. If you watched my video on probiotics, you know why you should have them in your everyday diet, and you also know some good sources. I'll actually link that video in the description box below, so feel free to watch it to find out more information. But let's go ahead and get started with what you're going to need to make pickles. So the first thing you're going to need are cucumbers. So I like to use, of course, pickling cucumbers. You don't have to use cucumbers just for pickling, but I find that the shape is a little bit better and the size. I also like to use organic or cucumbers that you know where they've come from. So these came from my local farmer's market, so I can actually talk to the farmer and find out about any pesticides that they use or fertilizers. So that's why I like to use a good natural cleaner source for cucumbers. So also what you're going to need in terms of produce, you're going to need garlic. Again, this garlic came from the farmer's market. If you don't have a farmer's market nearby, please buy organic. You don't want any chemicals in your pickles. So next, I also bought these pre-peeled. So that was great. At the farmer's market, a lot of times they'll sell them like that for convenience, and they're a lot cheaper than the grocery store. And last, for produce, you are going to need, or you don't have to have it, but I like dill pickles, so I bought some fresh dill from the farmer's market. I just really like the flavor. So you can use whatever flavor you want. You could look up other recipes for pickles. I just sort of like mine to be just simple, and dill garlic pickles are the way to go for me. So next, you'll actually need some more seasonings. You're going to need Celtic sea salt. So the more salt you use, the crispier it is. And if you've watched my video on sauerkraut or bone broth, you know that I like a lot of salt. I have low blood pressure, so I can have a lot of salt. If you have higher blood pressure, please don't use too much salt. You know what your sodium needs to be, so go with what your diet is, but this will actually help the pickles stay crispier. And I use either Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan salt. This is pink Celtic sea salt, and I really like this brand, Selena Naturally. It's just a great brand, and I know the source. So you don't want to use just table salt because it's a chemical. So get your salt from a natural source. And you're also going to need, or I like to use some peppercorns, and just for flavor, and these are again organic peppercorn. Then you're going to need some mason jars. I have here a 64 ounce, I believe, and a 32 ounce. So I would really like to have a gallon one, and I actually just ordered one off Amazon. In fact, that's where I ordered these. But for right now, I'm just going to use these two. And you're going to need distilled water. Please use distilled water. And when you're rinsing your vegetables, which I've already done, please use distilled water, because tap water has fluoride in it and other harmful chemicals that are not going to be good in your pickles. So I use the distilled water, and it says distilled by reverse osmosis. So that is what I suggest. And let's see, the last thing I have here that you might not have if you've never made pickles, I saved some of the juice and some of the garlic and dill from my last batch of pickles, so that when I am making a new batch, the probiotics in here will help the new batch ferment. And also different sources of, or different vegetables might have different probiotics on them depending on where they were grown. So I don't always go to the same farmer at the farmer's market. So I think it's good to have a variety of probiotics. And so I'm trying to get as many different strands as possible. So I like to use these because they already have some probiotics in them. If you don't have that, you do not have to use a starter culture. The pickles will ferment on their own. You do not need to use vinegar for this. In fact, please don't, because that will not help the process. You want to get the vinegar flavor from the pickles fermenting, not from a vinegar source. That flavor, the ferment, that's actually the probiotics in your pickles. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be very simple. I'm going to take my mason jar and I'm going to put a little bit of my starter culture in this mason jar. And I'm going to probably make a mess, so I'm going to go get a paper towel. All right, there's a little bit of that one. Like to get some variety here. And a little bit of this one. I actually had saved some of the garlic and dill, so that's going to go in there. And now I'm going to put a few cloves of garlic. I like it to be pretty garlicky. Garlic is antiviral, so it's great for you. I actually take garlic pills if I'm sick, but some people even chew up a piece of garlic. Now, I have tried that before. It's not for me. It's very, very bitter. It kind of burns, but it's great for you if you can do it. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 garlic cloves in there. And I'm going to take some of my dill and I'm just going to put it in there whole. Doesn't have to be pretty. And this is great too because the dill is going to have some of its own bacteria on it that will ferment, and it will be even more of a variety. I like it to be very flavorful, so I'm going to put quite a bit of dill in here. I don't know, 5 or 6 sprigs. I never really count. I guess I could go off a recipe, but I just kind of go off my flavor profile and what I like. So now I'm going to start putting the pickles in. This is kind of like a puzzle sometimes because you want to get as many as you can in here, but it can be kind of difficult because of their shape. I really want to use all my pickles, or all my cucumbers. Because if you watched my other video, and I've talked about other good brands that you can use, you'll know that they're also kind of pricey for naturally fermented foods. So I really like to make my own when I can. And I'm trying to do that more often. Be a little more, or a little less lazy about that. All right. Get as many as possible in here. Can I do it? Can I do it? Maybe a different one. This one's a little smaller. All right. Now I'm going to add a couple more sprigs of the dill. Right in there. Mush them down. This is not going to be pretty. If you can make yours pretty, good for you. So now I'm going to go with some pepper. So peppercorns, I just like to do a couple dashes. And for salt, I said I just never remember how much I put in here. There are plenty of recipes you can follow if you want to get exactly how much of something, but like I said, I never do. All right, so I'm gonna go with as I said, disclaimer, I like a lot. 1, that was a heaping one. 2, 3, 4, that was 5 tablespoons for me. I'm gonna take that, I've added everything, I'm gonna fill it up with water. All right, I'm gonna make sure everything is underwater or else it will get moldy and gross. And now I'm gonna put the lid on, and I'm not gonna tighten it completely, because what can happen is when this is fermenting, it will actually expand, or it could expand, and it could explode. I've never had one explode, but it could. So now I'm gonna kind of shake it up. All right, that should be pretty good. Salt will dissolve. So there's 1. And this is gonna be messy, guys. I know this not the prettiest thing, but oh well. All right, so I'm gonna go with my starter cultures again. The rest of that one. Okay. And I don't want to put the rest. I'll put about half of that one. There we go. Okay, so now let's see how many. This is not gonna be pretty because this one's pretty small. I really wish I would have had my gallon. Oh well. All right, there's 1. How many can we get? 2. Oh, it's like gonna be 4. 3. Just getting one. Come on. Yep, 4. All right, not too bad. I only had 2 left over. All right, now I'm gonna put again the garlic. I've got 4 cloves left, that's good. And some more dill in there, some fresh dill. It smells so good. Dill has a very fresh smell. It's very strong though. Okay. This stuff is so cheap at the farmer's market, by the way. I completely suggest, if you have a farmer's market nearby, going there. All right, squish it down in there. Okay, now I'm gonna do my peppercorn. There we go. Nice flavor. And now my salt. What I'm gonna do is I'll wait before I put this in the refrigerator, and I'll taste it again, and or I'll taste it and I'll see how much, or if I need more salt. And last time I did for my sauerkraut. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now some water. Make sure everything's underneath the water. And put the lid on. And there you go. So now I've got my 2 jars of pickles. And what I will do is I will put them on the counter behind, I don't know if you can see behind me, I've already got some cabbage, some sauerkraut fermenting, and I'm gonna let it sit. Now, I let sauerkraut sit for like 2 weeks because I like it to be nice and soft. The pickles, probably only a week or a week and a half, because I don't like to have soggy pickles. I like them to be nice and crisp, and the longer you let it sit, the more the bacteria is going to be eating it and making it softer. So I'll probably try these in about a week and see what I think. And at that time, I'll decide if I want more salt, if they're done fermenting. And as soon as I feel like I like the taste and they're done fermenting, I will put them in the refrigerator, and that will stop the fermenting process. That will stop more bacteria from growing on them. And so, then they'll be delicious and ready to eat. So that's all I have for you for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come back with me to learn more recipes. And have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.